Entry 4. Azad Khan. That's what Muddy Hair's name is. It took a while to get him to talk to any of us, and even then, it was mostly grunts. We actually heard a story from one of Achaeus' soldiers. Azad was born to the same father as the chicken god. The chicken god's name is Armand Khan. Azad and Armand were close growing up. Although Azad was technically a bastard, Azad was the better warrior of the two, going even so far to earn his father's favor, leading raiding parties. Armand grew jealous. Then, seizing upon an opportunity after a lost battle, Armand killed their father, then had Azad imprisoned. This had all happened less than a month before we'd arrived. I think this family needs some counseling. Achaeus took us to his home, which was just outside a city called Remulus. I guess owning slaves is not legal within city limits, but perfectly fine just outside. Achaeus owns a villa. It smells horrible around here, like sweat and body odor. Maybe that's just me. We didn't get to see the villa in its entirety. We marched into cells in the basement. Then we were told that our new slave master would be with us shortly, as Achaeus had a meeting with a general, Tiberius Strong, and it couldn't wait. The cells are an upgrade from the last ones we'd been confined to, but they're still dingy and damp, and a cage is a cage. At least in these ones, we have beds. Everyone is still angry. I don't blame them. I am too. I think I hear the guards coming. Entry 5. So, we met the slave master. He's every bit of what you'd think a Roman wannabe slave master would be like. A tall, angry-looking guy in hoplite armor with a whip instead of a shield. He stood outside of our cells, Achaeus a few feet to his left. I am Theseus, named after the last emperor of the Sun Empire. I am your new slave master. I tell you when to eat, when to sleep, when to piss and shit. I will also train you in the art of combat in the arena. Our master, Senator Achaeus, has spent a good investment on you, and he would rather you not be killed in your first bout. He looked all of us over, his eyes resting on me. For some of you, that will be harder than others. Thanks, man. Way to have faith. We will begin your training tomorrow. Until then, we will have meals prepared for you. You may rest tonight. In the morning, you will learn. The arena will be your new home. Bloodshed your mistress. Survive for long enough, you may earn your freedom. I eyed Buck when he said that. Buck only glared at him, his eyes full of fury. Some servants brought us bowls of some kind of stew. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great either. I sat in the corner, wondering about all the ways I was going to die in whatever arena they tossed me in. My eyes caught Dara and Belle, as they had been placed in a separate cell together. All the guys had been placed in a cell together as well. Belle was stroking Dara's hair as she sobbed. My eyes then found Azad, who was sitting in another corner. Buck paced back and forth across the cell, while Captain Brooks and Mac watched him. Maybe we can overpower a guard. Take their stuff. One maybe. I counted at least 30 on sight, said Mac. Shit. He did say if we survive long enough, we would earn our freedom. What do you think long enough entails? Asked Brooke. 22 fights. Azad's voice grunted. All eyes were on him now. It's Remulus law. No slave can battle more than 22 times. Shit, said Mac. Azad glanced at him. It isn't impossible. Only a handful have ever done it. Theseus is one of them, so they say. Who are these fights against? Asked Buck. Other slaves. Sometimes each other. Sometimes beasts from the Lilian jungle. The 22nd battle is always the worst. It's why so few ever make it out. Why? Asked Buck. It's tradition. The fighter who makes it through 21 bouts has to face a lizard king alone. A lizard king? Asked Mac. You're from the Lilian jungle. You have undoubtedly faced one of them. They're big, teeth like knives, thunderous footfalls, travel in groups of 3 to 5. Fuck, I said as I realized it. All eyes were on me now. It's a T-Rex, I said. I could hear Dara laugh from her cell. I knew what she was thinking. I knew 'cause I feel the same way. We're all going to die. Entry 6. Training sucks. Theseus beat the absolute hell out of us. We started the morning with wooden swords. We paired off in groups of 2. I ended up with Captain Brooks, who beat the absolute hell out of me. He is very good at this. I'm not sure why. It's all in the mind. He keeps telling me, you want to survive? You've got to dig deep. I can start doing that when I'm not flat on my ass. Entry 7. We've been training for a few days now. I'd be lying if I said it was getting easier. The food here is at least a little better than that gruel we ate at the chicken horde camp. It was during breakfast this morning when Theseus walked in with a scroll. He narrowed his eyes at us. Your first bouts will take place within the week. I expect you all to perform. We all looked at each other. I can remember eyeing Azad, who only rolled his eyes. Then Mac and Buck. They were both stone cold and resolute. Azad Khan, you have the main event. You'll be facing the shadow, Theseus said before turning to the rest of us. His eyes landed on me. Chicken Slayer, you will fight first. Try not to die too quickly, he said, gesturing to myself and Dara. Who am I fighting? I asked, not really sure if I wanted to know the answer. Theseus looked at the scroll. It's not a matter of who, but what. You'll be doing the turkey run. You 4 will compete in the Death Dome, he said, gesturing to Bell, Brooks, Mac, and Buck. I didn't know what that meant. A turkey run? I mean, if their chickens are fucking terror birds, then what are their turkeys? The cell was dead silent for a moment. We start training for your specific events after you're finished with your breakfast, he said before abruptly walking out. Mac nudged Buck. He doesn't seem too happy. It's because we're all going to die, Azad said. Mac looked at him with a raised brow. You seem optimistic. Oh, I'm sorry. We're all going to die. Horribly. That's better, replied Mac. Fucking psycho. Training after breakfast was awful. I found out what the turkey run is. Basically, myself and Dara are competing against 20 other slaves in a race through a maze where we will have to avoid being devoured by, you guessed it, turkeys. We'll be armed, of course. Theseus equipped me with a small scythe. Or sickle. It's a fucking sickle. He reiterated that to me several times. He's quite the motivator. Dara was given a short sword. Basically, the name of the game is to make it through the maze without being eaten or killed. Seems easy enough. Theseus had us running up and down the training arena floor for most of the day. Good lord, I hate running, but I guess it's better than the Death Dome. From what I can gather, the Death Dome sounds like complete chaos. It's basically a free-for-all in a shrinking arena. If you fall out of the dome, you die. Last 5 competitors get to go home. Out of 20. It's fucking barbaric. Then don't get me started on Azad's 1v1 with this Shadow. It sounds just like a standard 1v1 battle, until you get into the actual details. I guess Shadow is a former associate of Azad's. By that I mean that Azad is actually the one who sold him to a senator after capturing him during a raid. Shadow was a warrior defending his people. A good one apparently, as this is supposed to be his fight number 20. I hate this place. I can't reiterate that enough. I wanna go home. I wanna see my kids. I wanna eat a fucking cheeseburger. I wanna give Spirit Airlines a 1-star review on Yelp. I want this to be over. My body hurts. My ass hurts. My legs hurt. I'm gonna go to bed. Maybe I'll have the energy to write more tomorrow. Entry 8. It's been months since I've written anything. I'm still alive, clearly. Let me just start with our first fights and go from there. So much has happened since then. Achaeus and Theseus stood with Dara and I at some black metal gate that led out into what looked like a stereotypical gladiatorial arena. Only we could both see the entrance to the maze ahead of us. The walls had to have been maybe 10 feet tall and lined with sharpened points to keep us from trying to climb over. I can remember feeling the sweat dripping down my face, my heart racing. I looked at Dara. Her eyes were large as well. Remember, keep moving, Theseus said. My grip tightened on the handle of my sickle. The gate lifted up. Dara and I stepped forward as an announcer bellowed. And now for our contestants. I'd honestly missed what he'd said. I looked to my left and right. There were others coming out the gates next to us. There were supposed to be 22 of us. All we had to do was get through the maze. I looked down at the sand. The crowd around us was roaring. I could hear the gate closing. We weren't allowed to begin until the announcer said. I eyed him. He was a fat man standing in a suite. In that same suite sat who I could only describe as a typical Julius Caesar wannabe with his whole entourage. This guy looked bored as hell. He also looked annoyed at the man sitting next to him. The man next to him was old. He had bleached blonde hair and a thick beard. He was also wearing pearly white armor. "Begin!" the announcer boomed. We had a 30-second hit start on the turkeys. We flew into the maze, all the while the crowd cheered. 30, 29, 28, 27. We ran hard, our feet hitting the sand, passing other battle slaves, doing the same and going various directions. Everyone was in a panic. My heart was pounding like a drum. 23, 22, 21. We rounded a corner. Dead end. We turned back the other way, making a mad dash for the other side. I could see a broadly built slave yanking his sword from the entrails of a female slave. We came to a sliding stop as he turned to us, a psychotic grin on his face. 13, 12, 11, 10. This guy clearly didn't care about the turkeys. He just wanted a fight. Dara sank behind me. I readied my sickle, but the last time I'd fought a person, I'd been like 14 and had gotten my ass whooped. Whatever, they called me the chicken slayer for a reason. He walked toward me slowly, readying the massive curved blade. This guy easily had a foot or two on me. The dude was built like a brick shit house. Imagine the mountain from Game of Thrones, but with a sick and twisted grin. He raised his sword and lunged forward. I stumbled backward, trying to get out of the way, but I didn't realize how close Darrow was to me. We tripped, the madman still coming for us. We both scrambled back. He laughed menacingly as he stumped over to me. I thought I was dead. No, wait, I didn't think. I knew I was about to die. I could feel the shit getting ready to come out of my ass. I can remember thinking, this is it, I'm gonna die. Fuck Spirit Airlines. He readied his sword. Then came the screech. The creature leapt on top of him, its clawed feet digging into his belly as its jaws clamped down on his head. My eyes went wide. It was a fucking Utah raptor. At least, that's what Max said. Oh, shit! I screamed as Dara pulled me to my feet. We started back down the maze, just as the raptor yanked a chunk of flesh from the man's throat. We rounded another corner, sprinting as hard and as fast as we possibly could. The screeches of more raptors calling out and mixing with the cacophony of cheering and screams from the audience and contestants. We passed another raptor ripping the guts from another contestant. We ran harder. I was pretty sure I'd 100% had a turd in my pants. Rounding another corner. Then we could see it. The exit. The end of the maze. Then came the screech. Then the footsteps. It came at us so fast. I heard Dara scream. I turned just as she'd been knocked to the ground. The creature's clawed feet had raked down her back. Her eyes looking up at me. Pleading. Begging for help. Its jaws clamped down on her shoulder. I wanted to run. To get the hell out of there. But I couldn't. My legs were moving before I realized what I was doing. I sprinted forward, sickle raised, and slammed the point directly onto the thing's green leathery skin. It went into the thing's throat, its blood exploding onto the sand as it scrambled back, gagging and struggling. I'd accidentally left my weapon inside it, but I didn't care. Dara was a bloody mess on the ground. She was unconscious. I picked her up and slung her over my shoulder, her blood drenching me and fast. I didn't know what I was supposed to do though. I'm a fucking marketing consultant, not a fucking EMT. I got her through the finish line and laid her down. She was unresponsive, her body limp. Dara! I can remember shouting. My legs were jelly. Don't die on me, come on! According to Theseus, she had died sometime between the raptor biting her and me killing it. He'd said that while he berated me for going back to help her. But that whole conversation would happen a few days later. Fuck that guy. Some of Achaeus' assistants very quickly cleaned me off and led me to a dugout type area. I couldn't stop thinking of Dara. I wasn't sure if I could remember the light leaving her eyes or not. I'd lived just because I was a little faster than her. Now I was here, where I could sit and watch as my friends were let out onto the arena floor. They were lined up in a circle, them and the 16 other contenders. Then the floor started to move. The sands fell into a pit full of pointed spears all around the circle these men had created. I took a deep, shuddering breath. The crowd went ballistic. Welcome to the second round of our most honored games. Welcome to the Death Dome. The goal is survival. You fall out of the dome, you die, the announcer said. My eyes locked on Buck. He had a sword in one hand and a shield strapped to his other. He was also shirtless. All the males were. I had been when I was in my event. The males were shirtless and the females had enough on to cover their breasts. Buck looked at Mac, who had a small axe and was staring at the man standing across from them. He was another giant, maybe 6.5 feet tall and hairless. He had an oversized hammer slung over his shoulder. He waved at Mac. Mac turned to Buck and Brooks. Well, that's disturbing, he said. Look at that one, Buck said as he motioned his head to their right. There stood a skinny woman with a bow. A ranged weapon would be hard to counter in a contest like this, until the dome shrank. Belle readied her spear, Brooks his sword. Begin, the announcer bellowed. The woman with the bow loaded an arrow and fired it into someone to her left. It hit with a wet thunk, and the man fell. The mountain of a man whacked someone with his hammer, and they went sailing into the pit. 3 to 4 of the spears impaled them. My eyes went straight to Mac, who was whacking someone in the head with his axe. Bits of brain and blood peppered the sand. Buck was shielding Belle from another attacker. He'd literally used his shield to stop a sword from caving her face in, before shoving his own blade through his assailant's neck. Buck was doing his best to protect Belle. There came a roar. The big man was stomping toward Mac and Brooks. The big man raised his hammer and brought it down hard. Mac rolled out of the way. Brooks sidestepped while poking his blade out. It was like watching the stinger on a scorpion. The strike was fast and brutally effective, slicing the giant right above the Adam's apple. The giant stumbled forward. Blood gushed from his throat. He fell. Brooks turned to Mac. Brooks smirked. Damn, Mac said. That was when the dome shrank. A ring fell off the outer edge of the platform. 2 or 3 people fell with it. Belle was one. Buck had to drop to his belly to catch her. He barely pulled that off, managing to snag her wrist. He started to pull her up when one of the other contestants noticed this. I could feel my heart in my throat. No! I screamed. The man was about to bury an axe in Buck's back when an arrow exploded through his eyeball. He went limp and tumbled over them and into the pit. My eyes met the archer lady who found another target. Belle and Buck were up top now. Get to the center, I grunted to myself. There were maybe 10 contestants left. Remember, the top 5 live. The archer lady fired another arrow. This one killed the man charging her with a sickle. 9 left. 4 more people had to die. Another attacked Mac. He buried his weapon in the man's head. 3. The arrow lady raised her bow at Brooks and fired. Brooks dodged it, then charged her. Buck bashed someone's head in with the shield. 2. A large man tackled Mac to the ground. Belle's spear erupted from his chest. 1. 1 person left. My whole group was still alive. The 4 of them. The archer lady and a broad man with a sword who was going after Buck, bashing his shield with his sword. Then came archer lady. Brooks had swiped at her with his weapon. She ducked under him and swiped his leg out from under him. She aimed her bow and smiled. I could feel my heart in my throat. I wanted to scream out. Then came the horn. A loud and deep horn that shook the stadium. Buck and Belle were ripping their weapons from the now dead man's back. I hadn't even seen them beat him. The archer woman smiled and helped Brooks to his feet. The rings were brought back up from the pit by massive chains that groaned under their weight. The archer lady and Brooks were laughing as they spoke to each other. That was weird to me. She even playfully slapped his ass as he walked away. Shit was weird. She was just about to kill him. They came into the dugout with me. I could hear Theseus singing their praises as they were led up next to me. Good job, you've all fought well. Let's see if Azad does the same. I just about hugged Buck when I saw him. I'm glad you guys made it, I said. I couldn't help but feel a little sad still. I couldn't save Dara. I think my face showed it. Buck put his hand on my shoulder. It isn't your fault. You tried. Shit, you didn't even hesitate. You're a good man, and it's okay to be sad for a while. No, it's not, said Theseus. A fucking asshole. Buck rolled his eyes. Then we turned back to look out at the arena, where Azad stood shirtless with 2 short swords across from a man with grey skin and paper-white hair. What the fuck? Asked Brooks. He's a Hectoran. Azad and his people harassed their settlements for a while, before King Tazon's eldest son forced him into the Lilian jungle, said Theseus. The shadow roared in fury as he held up his double-sided battle axe. The man had to have been around 8 feet tall. He dwarfed Azad. But Azad was calm, abnormally calm. He cut into a battle stance with his blades. The fat man in the suite thundered his announcement. Begin! The shadow went first, raising his blade high and bringing it down. He moved so much faster than I expected. Azad moved just as quick, diving to one side and rolling. The axe hit the sand hard. Azad got to his feet. You killed my family. I didn't order that, Azad growled. The shadow blinked in split-second confusion before the rage overtook him again. He sprinted forward and swung his axe again. Azad ducked under it while slashing the shadow's knees. The shadow roared in pain again as he stumbled forward. He gritted his teeth, then stood up straight. Azad stood up behind him, his swords ready. How can he still walk? Asked Mac. Hectoran's flesh is different. It's dense. They're very hard to kill, Theseus stated. It was then that I noticed. The shadow wasn't even bleeding. He gritted his teeth. I'm going to rip the heart out and fuck the hole, he roared. Azad didn't say a word. His expression was calm. The shadow charged again, wildly swinging his axe like a madman. The Hectoran was ferocious. Azad was skilled. He dodged each blow. His movements were fluid and mesmerizing. It was like watching a dance. Then Azad struck like a fucking viper. The tip of one of his swords lashed out, the point entering the Hectoran's flesh. Only it didn't penetrate more than an inch. The blade actually snapped. The grey-skinned monster kicked Azad in the chest. Azad flew back, bouncing across the sand before getting to his feet. Azad threw his broken sword down and raised his remaining one. The shadow roared as he charged, swiping his axe across. Azad took a step back, dodging the blow. The shadow raised his weapon high and brought it down hard. Azad sidestepped. How is he supposed to kill that thing? I asked. Theseus didn't respond. The monster roared in frustration. Why won't you stay still? He bellowed as he swiped his axe around again. Azad rolled underneath it before springing to his feet. He then buried his blade into the creature's eye socket. He howled in pain and cheated rage as it stumbled backward. My heart thumped in my chest. The creature's crimson blood began to flow down its grey skin. Finally, it stopped, its remaining eye blazing and locked on Azad. He snarled as he began to walk forward. I could see the look on Azad's face. He seemed so annoyed. The shadow made it 2 steps. Then, his body went limp. He fell face first into the sands. The crowd went nuts. I even found myself cheering alongside my friends. In hindsight, I'm kind of ashamed. Azad didn't say a word. He didn't bask in his victory. He simply walked off the sands. We'd celebrated that night. For a moment, during the celebration, I even forgot we were essentially battle slaves. As I said at the beginning of this entry, it's been months since I've written. Since that first battle, we've survived an additional 10 more. Some against men, some not. The training has grown easier. I think I may be in the best shape of my life. The fighting is brutal. The worst enemies are the human ones. The creatures are so-so. We fought more raptors. We fought a triceratops. We even fought a weird-looking cat creature. That sucked. I've got scars on my back from that one. We've also learned more about each other. More about Azad in particular. He's a bit of a legend actually. It's interesting. I stated earlier that he was the bastard son of a ruthless, Hun-like tribal leader. That he led raiding parties. He was a genocidal pillager. He was a pillager, yes, but he wasn't genocidal. He says that's why Armand took the tribe so easily, because he let too many people go. Hell, Armand was the one who ordered the Shadow's village razed. Azad was only there to steal supplies. This in turn brought Emperor Tazen's wrath upon them. I guess the Hectoron Empire is on one side of the jungle and Remulus is on the other. Theseus says the two nations have a tolerant relationship. They don't pick fights with one another, but they also mind their own business. Not that I actually care about the politics in this place. I'm just a fucking battle slave. I'm not sure why I haven't written anything in so long. Maybe I'm just caught up in it all. I know why I'm writing now though. Our fight tomorrow. Or my fight tomorrow. Everyone has a 1v1 battle, except Brooks. He got injured in the last fight and is sitting this one out. My opponent is on their 21st battle. Theseus says that makes them dangerous. Despite Theseus admitting that, he respects my ability to survive. He also says that he doesn't like my chances. My opponent's name is Sasha. She's the archer lady that almost did Brooks in. Brooks, who can still put me on my ass in less than 20 seconds. If I don't live through this, blame Spirit Airlines. I'm just kidding. All jokes aside, I asked Buck if he could take over writing in this journal. He's extremely capable. If anyone can survive this, it's him. If I do then, I guess I'll see you guys later.